How's it going, everybody? This is Real Bros. I'm here with Drake. We're playing some Rocket League, and it is a tech talk today. Ain't that right?
Tech talk.
I can only do so much initially.
Initially?
Yeah, initially.
You have a warm-up period?
I got my warm-up period. Everybody's got a little refractory period.
By the way, for all the viewers at home, I'm a horribly selfish player in this game. I will hit Steve repetitively and will not apologize. So to start Tech Tuesday, I kind of want to discuss Hoops game mode in Rocket League in the first place. It's because Rocket League just turned a year old.
Okay.
Back in, I think, March, I want to say?
Something like that.
Then they dropped this, I think, 3 days after their 1 year anniversary.
Ooh, anniversary.
And it got everybody super excited for like the first few hours that they played it, and now it's one of their least popular playlists.
I wonder why. I would primarily guess and venture to say because it is ungodly difficult. It is beyond how it should be. You can only have 2 people in it. The map is too short. I have immense amounts of anger and rage. It's impossible to teamwork it, and the ball doesn't want to cooperate. Did I hit all the categories there?
I was going to say that I quite enjoy it, but if you're going to do like that, I guess I should just keep my mouth shut if I want to keep on appearing on the channel.
I'm opinionated. There is a problem. There is a serious problem with this game.
Yes.
I like the touches that they do have, but the gripes are greater than the pros.
It was a good refresh to get me to come play the game
Yes.
for an extended amount of time, and then it reminded me how good that the original game was, and then I played more of
I
that.
didn't want a training mode. I wanted basketball. I wanted hoops.
Makes you really good at your aerials like that.
It does. It does. It forces you to go up into the air.
Yeah, but the game's a year old, right?
Okay.
They're counting that some people are getting really, really good at this game. So they wanted to give us like a more challenging aspect
All right, that's fair.
of the game for people that have gotten like ridiculously good at aerials and want to show off. I mean, when they gave out this update and they gave us this new game mode, there's now like a 3-second zoom in on the guy who scored the shot just so he can show off more about his aerials. Like,
So then give us a mode that literally says for veterans only, or more advanced, or 2-star difficulty instead of 1.
well, I guess that's the idea of competitive,
This
isn't it?
isn't ranked. This is hoops. There's no hoop rank.
True.
So it's like if you want to flaunt, or if you want to give us a game mode primarily targeted towards people who have practiced the more advanced categories, warn the people that aren't good at it from the get-go. Because while this game is a year old, there are a ton of newcomers, and it's very simple and easy to pick up.
Man, we are having the worst luck.
I know! And I think that's my problem, is because no one knows how to properly do it, but there oftentimes are quote-unquote lucky goals that happen a lot more in hoops than it does in regular Rocket League.
And that's not to say that there isn't people that have skill and like
Oh, yeah.
know this game in the first place. It's just saying that a large majority of the populace is having to learn an entirely new game.
Yeah.
And if you're not good at aerials, you're already starting at a deficit.
Which is cool. But this game isn't aerials. This game is Rocket League.
Ooh, nice shot though.
Thank you, sir. Thank
I'm
you.
just gonna start doing donuts. Oh!
That's not how
I was
donuts
doing
work.
celebratory donuts.
Why are you celebrating?
I was having a good time.
Oh, God!
Oh God!
Yes! No! Yes! But hey, they have a bunch of experimental labs. They have hockey. They have 3s, 4s, 2s, singles. Rocket League's really expanded from the last year, and that's, I want to say, a good thing, especially when you come from something that's so simple that has evolved. Can we still win? Oh. Oh. God damn it.
Sadness.
Sadness Everdeen. We're hoops again. I just bitched about this. Hot topic today that has just come, spurted itself onto the floor right now.
Ooh.
Surprised the world is the new Nvidia GTX card, right?
Yeah, the 1080, right?
Right?
Or one of the cards is the 1080.
Right. So we have the 1080 and the 1070. Do you wanna elaborate on this for people that don't know?
Normally with tech increments or new upgrades to systems, especially as far as like CPUs or other GPUs and stuff are concerned, we usually don't see like a massive increase over a short duration. And normally we've just come to expect that upgrade is usually between 5 and 10% performance upgrade, so people can feel comfortable with their equipment that they bought last year that it's still worthwhile and it's not obsolete, right? They kind of noticed how good it was, and they kind of just threw everything out the window and said, screw it, we're going to increase all performance across all GPUs by like 20 to 30%.
Yeah, and I've seen a bunch of the, like, especially with the new Tesla models that pretty much sold out instantly. We'll talk about it about another time, but they're crazy autopilot computers, and the amount of processing power that we've been able to have lately, especially in such little places, that this kind of breakthrough is not normal. And with this kind of abnormal breakthrough, they said, hey, let's make it something that's not only crazy and new, but also we're going to blow everyone out of the water by making it affordable too. Like, if you have a monopoly on something, why not make it super expensive, like we've seen with the birth of touchscreen technology and like the first iPhones and everything like that. For a long time, it was expensive. They had the entire market on it. So when you come with Pascal and they say, here's a 1080, a 1070, here's our new models that are effectively better than everything we've ever done ever on a new platform called Pascal, it was what price there? What cost are we looking at?
Well, the idea behind it is that it's still the same upgrade to their previous models that they've had, so they keep the same price line. So instead of increasing it for the price of performance that you usually get, which is normally what you see with like the Titan X and stuff, they kept them the same price as the 970 and the 980 from last year, which is 380 and 600 respectively. So, although Nvidia definitely doesn't have a monopoly on the whole graphics card game, AMD does way too much business in mid to low end graphics cards for Nvidia to be able to say that. The fact that they came out with this, and they kept the price consistent is kind of ridiculous. The 1070 that's now $380 is reportedly better than Nvidia's current $1,000 GPU, the Titan X, which is currently the best, I'm putting air quotes, best graphics card that you can buy right now. Nvidia just came out guns a-blazing and shot down even their own stuff. It's so good.
So there's my problem with it. And here's the problem that I do have, because yes, coming out with a new generation of thing, the next iteration following kind of the same price point when the other stuff was new, that makes sense. For something that's equivalent and slightly better, when you have something that's, say, 40% better than, the 970, or even 20%, whatever, it's better than the top of the line model you have, why are you giving it to us for the same price as your low-end model, one generation ago? Why is this not your new top of the line? Why are you not flouting it as your new top of the line? And why are you not selling it for the same price as your new top of the line? And so I can see how they're like, okay, new market, new technology. Pascal is not our old Maxwell style engineering. This is a completely different design to replace everything. But who just does that? Who says this will replace everything and it will replace everything for a third of the price?
Well, it's the same company that also made a supercomputer for Tesla that now makes cars able to autopilot.
Well, that
kind of like sticking their middle finger up to the world and just keeping the marketplace and prices and their items super unique and kind of off-putting like that.
There's two parts to that, though. One, their supercomputer was essentially the same Pascal design. And two, they're sticking their middle fingers up their own asses, too. You're killing your own market by saying everything that we've ever done is essentially worthless. You should buy the new stuff for cheaper.
Well, that depends. Because it all depends upon how cheap they now make their previous generation hardware. Because for people that aren't looking for the top edge, cutting edge, like, this is the greatest thing that's ever come out, GPU, and they're looking like, let's say, just like a home PC, like to run on your TV, to run like SteamOS or something like that. If they can make like the current 980, like $200, just because they have a bunch of excess ones and they know everybody else will be buying Pascal if they're looking for performance, it makes sense for them because they'll sell a ton of them, but they won't make nearly as high of a profit margin on what they've already sold. Granted, that also means that what they've been selling the 980 and the 970 at now are just a complete ripoff.
Yeah, you get the people that have just bought it or have bought it in the past for full price, say $600 to $800, and you get the people that are just buying new ones in comparison for the super upgraded version for much less cost. you're going to get an anger or a riot or somebody freaking out. And say if the 980s, 970s go down to 200, that's still half the price of the new ones. They better make the Titan X's, the crazy TIs, the SLIs, all of your highest end stuff is going to have to drop down too. Otherwise, why would you buy it? Why would you buy a Titan X for twice the price if it's worth half the power? That doesn't make any sense. They're shafting themselves, and it only makes sense if they don't have any of their stuff left. But who's to say they don't have a giant warehouse full of all of their own technology from the past 5 years, and they're saying all this new stuff's going to screw it? What are we missing? What crazy thing is happening? What experimental lab are we in Rocket League right now? What's the catch?
I guess we won't really know until May 27th when they release everything.
I guess.
They give us like definite answers.
May 27th, or I believe early June for the 1070. Pascal, a special new thing that avoids typical structures that most games can't run on Pascal, or like what?
Well, with most GPU releases, we usually see that for like the first month or so, game developers will have to like kind of almost readapt all of their stuff to be able to handle it. And that doesn't mean completely changing games. That just means having drivers that support their current GPU offerings from Nvidia, because they know a lot of people will end up buying them. But also, being Nvidia, they know that they can't just make something that's entirely different. Like, they can't just make a completely different architecture that runs on completely different drivers, software, updates, BIOS, all that stuff. They can't do that because it won't be compatible and people won't buy it. So
yeah,
it's going to be compatible with everything.
GTX is known for being being very cool, yet on the lower end or incredibly high end quality. They don't have the AMD middle area taken care of.
I guess, yeah. I think with this new iteration, that gap is just going to become bigger between high and low end, which is kind of a disappointment. But as far as similarities between AMD and Nvidia, wow, we are whooping. As the similarities between AMD and Nvidia are concerned, the biggest upgrade that comes with this GPU is lower power consumption and higher RAM. So AMD has always had higher VRAM on their cards. So people that were looking at having multiple displays or ridiculously high resolutions, even if the GPU clock wasn't as fast on AMD cards, they had to get AMD cards because it had to have enough VRAM to load that many pixels at once. Well, now with the 1080 and the 1070 that come with 8 gigabytes of VRAM, which is still considered overkill for many, many, many people at this day and age, that is the only real similarity that AMD and Nvidia cards, or at least Pascal Nvidia cards, have with one another. That was the real big thing, is that they had 8 gigabytes. Granted, the Titan X had a lot. Ooh, nice say.
Yeah.
The Titan X had a lot of RAM, but it was also $1,000, and it was out of the reach for a lot of people.
And it was, I want to say, 250 watts. It was a massive power eater. It consumed so much power, insane amount of power.
It was a super hot running card.
Yeah.
So now we have the 1080 that's going to be using a single 8-pin connector and draw 180 watts. So, I mean, you're getting way more performance, you're getting way more VRAM, you're getting way less power consumption, you're getting way less heat, all for the same price.
So I'm going to run through a couple specs here real quick. We have memory speed being 10 gigabytes per second, which is, I want to say, more than double. This is for the 1080, not the 1070. 1070 being about 40 to 60% worse than the 1080, but still much better than its competition, especially at $300. So this one's a $600 1080 card. We have 10 gigabytes per second, which is almost unheard of. We have 8 gigabytes of that RAM that you were talking about. The GDDR5X,
which is Nvidia's new standard, which is based off of HBM, which is AMD's latest, fastest VRAM.
So there was 128-bit. Now we're looking at 256 bits. Bandwidth being 320. This thing is absolutely destroying, and that's only memory alone. This is like the year of virtual reality, right? You have the Vive, you have the Oculus Rift. We have so many crazy amounts, especially with like even the little Android headset that you could just slide your phone into. This is the year of VR, and with that it comes multi-projection, able to post, two completely separate images, one for each eye, or say someone has 3 or 4 monitors, you're able to put that image across all the monitors appropriately. So this graphics card is able to multi-project simultaneously across several areas, and it compensates. And that was part of the press that they were talking about. That seems a little extreme?
I guess.
I don't know. It seems really strong in a way that shouldn't be so.
The whole big like multi-display idea happened far before this idea of this technology that they came out with this new card.
Yeah, but it wasn't strong until virtual reality became a thing that was actually tangible. That became a market that, you know, YouTubers that have the money are able to get into. You know, say certain households that have the money because they're still like $600 are able to get into. But it's emerging itself as a strong competitor when it comes to gaming. That virtual reality is a thing. It's here and it's actually here and it's here to stay. You know, as its own market.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I feel like with this new software that they've come out with on this card, that it's just going to make Nvidia cards even more of the VR dominant gaming card in the first place.
Over AMD?
Oh, far over AMD.
Why do you say that?
Because the requirements for VR, like on Steam's HTC Vive website and all that stuff, requires a 980 or above, and they only ever reference, or I guess not really only ever reference, but they strongly hint at Nvidia being the only like true card that can push this kind of resolution or this kind of horsepower that you need.
Yeah, you don't see a requirement being a Radeon R9.
No. I know there's going to be Team Red fans out there that are just like completely hating on this entire video, but AMD has really got to step it up in that sort of sense. They got that mid-range card down. I mean, they make a ridiculous amount of money, and they satisfy a lot of people that are totally fine with 1080p 60-frame gaming. Like, that will always be a big title because it's a great entry point for a lot of gamers. But for people that are going into VR and stuff like that, when Nvidia was already the most dominant card maker for VR-driven individuals, and then they come out with software that optimizes your VR experience and makes it like 20 to 30% easier to push, like, it doesn't make any sense why you wouldn't go with Nvidia at this point.
It's throwing me off because there is no answer, right?
Yes.
So if you're looking at AMD, or I'm sure there's probably a couple that we aren't mentioning, big graphics card companies that work exclusively with PC. There is, like, we have this press conference of GTX announcing their new architecture that destroys, and this is all speculation, we'll see if it actually works out, but there is no AMD counter of, we have something that's twice as strong for our own mid-range equipment. It's literally just GTX. That's it.
AMD doesn't like to leak their stuff, or like, I'm doing air quotes again.
Oh!
Like glued to what they come out with. They like to be very professional and just have press conferences at their release dates or like their designated times. And Nvidia likes to leak and promote their own stuff previously and like send out images and be like, the power of 10 is greater than blah 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 blah. So I feel like the AMD equivalent is coming. I mean, AMD has to do something if they want to remain competitive. I just don't know if we'll hear about it for a while, which is a horrible case for AMD, because that just means that more people are going to end up buying 1070s and 1080s.
I don't know as far as this technology. We have May 27th for the 1080, the expensive one. May 7th, I believe, for the 1070, the cheaper one.
June 7th.
Yes, June 7th. I'm sorry, I was off by a month. Otherwise, it would already be out.
Yeah,
so I guess we're going to see what's going to happen. I'm looking forward to it, and we'll have to have a follow-up here.
The Tech Talk.
A Tech Talk with the Real Bros. Alright, give us a minute. We got to kick some Mad Max booty.
How's it going, bros? This is Real Bros. I'm here with Steve. This is Drake, the actual real owner of the YouTube channel.
It's not going in either.